Senate will come to order. In lieu of a devotional, we will have a moment of silence. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
By way of announcement, I would like to inform the body that we have a new attorney with us. Senator Nader Hashim should now have Esquire added to his name. He was sworn in as an attorney in the state of Vermont earlier today, which would call for applause if that were allowed. If I might check this. Horrible breach of decorum. We will have to discuss that later. Congratulations, Senator Hashim. We have Senate bills for introduction. First of which is S-269, introduced by Senator Clarkson and others. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
S-269, an act relating to consumer privacy.
And at this point, that bill is headed to Economic Development, Housing, and General Affairs. We have S-270, introduced by Senators Vyhovsky and Hashim. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
S-270, an act relating to judicial nominations and confirmations.
S-270 will go to the Committee on Judiciary. We have S-271, introduced by Senator Vyhovsky and others. Please listen to the first reading of that bill.
S-271, an act relating to a right to charge electric vehicles at home.
I would caution folks to turn off their cell phones. And S-271 will go to the Economic Development Committee. We have S-272, introduced by Senator Gulick. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
S-272, an act relating to the regulation of second-generation anticoagulant rodenticides.
S-272 is committed to the Committee on Agriculture. S-273 by Senator White. Please listen to the first reading of that bill.
S-273, an act relating to the collection and recycling of waste motor vehicle tires.
S-273 is hereby committed to the Committee on Natural Resources and Energy. S-274, introduced by Senator White.
S-274, an act relating to the sale of flushable wipes.
S-274, committed to the Committee on Natural Resources. S-275, introduced by Senator Harrison and others.
S-275, an act relating to municipal ordinances governing unoccupied commercial buildings.
S-275, committed to the Committee on Government Operations. S-276, introduced by Senators Williams and Starr.
S-276, an act relating to crimes against an unborn child.
S-276 is committed to the Committee on Judiciary. S-277, introduced by Senator Vyhovsky. Please listen to the first reading of that bill.
S-277, an act relating to prostitution.
S-277 will be committed to the Committee on Judiciary. S-278, introduced by Senator Vyhovsky and others.
S-278, an act relating to security negligence and a civil action involving sexual assault.
S-278, committed to the Committee on Judiciary. We have S-279, introduced by Senator Gulick and others. Please listen to the first reading of that bill.
S-279, an act relating to the prohibition of motor vehicle window tint.
S-279 will move to the Committee on Transportation. We have S-280, introduced by Senators Lyons and Gulick.
S-280, an act relating to cardiac emergency response plans in schools.
S-280 will be committed to the Committee on Education. S-281, introduced by Senator Campion. Please listen to the first reading of that bill.
S-281, an act relating to educator preparation and evidence-based literacy instruction.
S-281 committed to the Committee on Education. S-282 introduced by Senator Clarkson.
S-282, an act relating to the education equity team pilot project and report.
S-282 will move to the Committee on Education. S-283 introduced by Senators Renner, Collmore, Harrison, Ingalls, Kitchell, Perchlik, Starr, Weeks, and Williams.
S-283, an act relating to the decision to commingle Australian ballots in unified union school district voting.
S-283 committed to the Committee on Government Operations. S-284 introduced by Senator Williams and others. Please listen to the first reading of that bill.
S-284, an act relating to the use of electronic devices and digital and online products in school.
S-284 committed to the Committee on Education. We have S-285 introduced by Senator Sears. Please listen to the first reading of that bill.
S-285, an act relating to law enforcement interrogation policy.
S-285 will move to the Committee on Judiciary. S-286 introduced by Senator Starr. Please listen to the first reading of that bill.
S-286, an act relating to the regulation of accessory on-farm business.
S-286 committed to the Committee on Natural Resources. S-287 introduced by Senators Brock, Norris, and Collmore.
S-287, an act relating to bail and violations of conditions on release.
S-287 committed to the Committee on Judiciary. We have S-288 introduced by Senator Brock and others. Please listen to the first reading of that bill.
S-288, an act relating to unemployment insurance fraud.
S-288 will move to the Committee on Economic Development, Housing, and General Affairs. We have S-289 introduced by Senator Ram Hinsdale and others. Please listen to the first reading of that bill.
S-289, an act relating to age-appropriate design code.
And S-289 committed to the Committee on Economic Development, Housing, and General Affairs. S-290 introduced by Senator Perchlik.
S-290, an act relating to the Study Committee on Dam Emergency Action Planning.
S-290 will move to the Committee on Natural Resources and Energy. S-291 introduced by Senator Perchlik.
S-291, an act relating to land improvement fraud and timber trespass.
S-291 committed to the Committee on Judiciary. S-292 introduced by Senator Watson. Please listen to the first reading of that bill.
An act relating to animal welfare.
S-292 will move to the Committee on Government Operations. We have S-293 introduced by Senator Brock.
S-293, an act relating to expanding access to catastrophic health claims.
S-293 will be committed to the Committee on Health and Welfare. We have S-294 introduced by Senator Brock. Please listen to the first reading of that bill.
S-294, an act relating to minimum timeframes to act on applications related to the development of housing.
S-294 committed to the Committee on Natural Resources and Energy. We have S-295 introduced by Senator McDonald.
S-295, an act relating to the regulation of binary explosives and other related compounds.
S-295 committed to the Committee on Judiciary. S-296 introduced by Senator Brock and others. Please listen to the first reading of that bill.
S-296, an act relating to jurisdiction in juvenile proceedings.
S-296 committed to the Committee on Judiciary. And finally, we have S-297 introduced by Senators Brock, Collmore, Norris, and Weeks.
S-297, an act relating to the aggregate value of stolen property in certain crimes.
S-297 will hereafter be committed to the Committee on Judiciary. That would bring us to the orders of the day, other than the fact that we have no orders of the day. So I would look to the senator from Windsor for a motion.
Yeah, I would move that the Senate adjourn until tomorrow at 1 p.m. pending announcements.
And by way of announcements, are there any announcements? Senator from Madison.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Senate Government Operations Committee will meet at 1:30.
Senator from Washington.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Finance will meet at 1:30.
Senator from Bennington.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Education will meet at 1:30.
Senator from Orleans.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to just remind members that today from 4 until 6, the ag producers and the different organizations are going to be in the cafeteria, and if you could stop by, it would be appreciated. Thank you.
Senator from Essex.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate institutions will meet 15 minutes after the fall of the gavel.
Senator from Rutland.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Vermont Legislative Sportsman's Caucus meeting will be held in room 270 tomorrow afternoon at 4:30. All are welcome. The plan is for reorganization and discuss bills.
Senator from Madison.
Mr. President, Senate Natural Resources and Energy will meet tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
And the senator from Windsor.
Save the best for last. Go to afternoon. Mr. President, tonight, as I reminded you last week, tonight, we launch a fabulous season of Farmers Night. And for those of you who may not have come, it's at 7:30. It only goes for an hour. It's free, open to the public, and it showcases the best of Vermont talent. And so many of you will have constituents there, and tonight is no exception. Tonight, we have our finest a cappella singing group in the state. Counterpoint, they're doing a program called Turn the World Around, which is a celebration of the a cappella folk songs from the whole history of folk songs. And it should be wonderful in the tradition of Robert Cormier, who founded Counterpoint. And I encourage you all to come. It is just such a delicious break from our life in the Senate and from doing emails at night and catching up. Give yourselves a break and come and celebrate the folk songs of America.
Thank you. Are there any further announcements? Seeing none, the senator from Windsor has moved that the Senate stand in adjournment until 1 p.m. Thursday, January 18th. Are you ready for that question? If so, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and we stand in adjournment until 1 p.m. Thursday.